Let's see. And I gotta get this right. Hi, Cindy. Okay.
Hello, Frida. How are you?
I'm good. I think.
Morning.
Good morning. I think I may have messed up, huh? Are you in because I sent the reminder?
I'm in. Well, I don't know. It was on my calendar, and then I just saw the reminder. I'm actually just trying to work through my emails and everything this morning. I've got some pressing business going on. So,
Well, here's the deal. So I figure if I sent it, it was probably going to be a little challenge. The workshop doesn't start till 10, but I opened the room at 9:30 so that I can, do all my
okay.
stuff. So when I
That's what I
when I sent
thought.
the reminder, now I'm thinking people are probably going to think, oh my goodness, I thought it was 10, but it's actually 9:30.
I thought originally it was 10, and then I saw something with the 9:30. So,
Yeah.
and what I do is I always just put this on my iPad next to my computer so I can listen and everything, and then I can keep working.
Oh, okay.
Us
So
women, we multitask.
I know. So I'm getting ready to hop. I'm not going to close the room, but I've got to clear off my desk and get rid of all my stuff and make
I
my,
hear ya.
get my presentation up. My last 15 minutes of prep.
I hear ya. Well, you
Okay.
look fabulous. So good morning
Oh, thank
to
you.
you.
I don't have my lipstick on yet. I didn't put on my eyebrows.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
I'm still in my home office, honestly, pajamas and bad look out of bed. So I'm not, that's why I'm not showing my regular face.
Yes, I see your beautiful photograph, right?
Exactly. Well, you go get ready. Well, good morning to you. And I will be just hanging here waiting till 10 o'clock going at my work.
Well, I have a feeling that I might have other people, like somebody else is coming in now.
Yeah.
It's the reminder that I sent. Last night I was thinking I should send a reminder. I'll send it first thing in the morning.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. See you in a few.
Okay. Bye.
Hi, Javondalyn.
Yes.
All right, check me out. That's great. I was just telling Cindy that I sent the reminder, and I got that on my Zoom. I have the meeting starting at 9:30, but that's just so that I could come in and do my final prep. So we actually don't start till 10.
Oh, that's even better because I have things I could finish up. Thank you.
I know that's right. That's the same thing Cindy said. Yes. All right. So I'll see you in like 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going off video. Okay. All right. Let's close. Closing this. Closing everything. Closing Word. Okay. All right, so that's done. Put that on. All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I see you on mute. I just want to tell you that the workshop actually starts at 10. The reminder said 9:30 only because I had given myself an extra 30 minutes on Zoom to get finalized set up.
Okay.
So I'll see you all in about 20 minutes.
Thanks.
All right, don't get too involved in your extra work that you don't come back. So I'll see you in 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good morning, Rochelle. Oh, I see your name. Anyway, I just want to say the session starts at 10. My reminder said 9:30 only because I had opened up the room at 9:30 so I could finish stuff. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that'll give you time to go finish up those things you were probably multitasking on. And I'll see you then. Thank you for coming in though, but don't get lost. You can even stay signed in if you want. I don't want to lose you.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm. Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. So the session doesn't start until 10. When I sent the reminder, since I had set my Zoom for 9:30, that's what shows up, but it's really 10 o'clock. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Don't go away. You can stay signed in if you wanted, but I'm just finishing up and I'll be back in time for us at 10 o'clock. I actually probably come back around 5 minutes to 10.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, here we go. Now we're recording, right? All right.
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. And so now you all can see the presentation, but you can see pictures and things on the side, right? And so what I need to do is just put it to the view. I apologize, everybody. Every time I do this, I stumble through. And
No problem.
I always really appreciated that everybody's with me. We're doing this together. We're all friends.
We've all stumbled through these. And I continue to myself too, so no worries.
Yeah, me too. All right. So what I'm going to do is get started. Now, one more thing. Shucks. How do I put it on presentation view? Just did it, Cindy.
You see view in the upper right-hand corner, Frida?
I do not.
Oh, that's.
Oh, you mean on my presentation?
Oh, you want your PowerPoint.
Yeah, some of the PowerPoint.
Hold on.
Because you all can see the bar and everything, right? Or can I just see it? All right, I think we're ready to start. I don't want to use up our precious time because we got a lot to cover. This bar is just in my way. Okay. All right. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. And we're talking about Introduction to Government Contracting. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're good. Okay, so, all right. So let's get started. So my name is Frida Curry, and I have been with the Wbdc for 12 years. I had been with the Wbdc for 12 years. I'm on the team. Now I am a consultant. So I'm still with Wbdc, but I am a consultant. I've interacted with some of you all in the past. Some of you are new to me, maybe not new to Wbdc, and then some of you are new to us all around. And I welcome all of you to our presentation today. So Introduction to Government Contracting. This is an overview about doing business with government agencies. And any of you that have already been in this space or have worked with some of our advisors, you know it is a lot. And so in an hour, it's a lot to cover in an hour. And so what I decided to do was really touch wait a minute. All right, what I decided to do was to really touch on the elements that are really key to government contracting. And then if you feel like, well, I didn't get enough, I needed more, no problem. You can always make appointments with our team, and then we can go in, deep dive, and go in and get the kind of information that you wanted. But what I wanted to do today is just really do this overview so that you can get a sense of the elements that are involved, the actions that are involved, the thinking that's involved, the strategy that's involved. When someone says, I want to do business with a government agency, there's a lot to think about. And what I want to do is just touch on some of those things as we go through our session today. Our agenda, I can't get rid of this black thing, it's in my way. Okay. So our agenda today, just a little bit about the WBDC, just a slide or two about our mission, who we are, why we're here for those of you that are new to the WBDC. We're going to talk about an overview of PTACs, what we do, that stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Then talk about strategy. So the strategy around doing business with government agencies. And one of the things that may surprise many of you that are already in business and you've been doing business with private entities, individuals, and or other corporations is that just like the strategy that you have to create for them, it's the same thing when you're talking about government contracting. And I make that point because sometimes people that are new to the government space think, well, I just want to do business with the government, but they don't stop and think, how does this fit in with their strategic plan? Does it make sense? Do I sell what the government agencies buy? So there's strategy behind your decision when you decide you want to do business with the government. It'll do just a touch overview about the different government entities when we talk about government contracting, and then certification, which is a key component of doing business with large entities like government agencies, talk about some of the marketing tools, and I want to jump in and do a little bit with the city buying plan. just to show that to you. And all right, can you all see me? You can't see me, right? I want to see you all see me drinking water and all that stuff.
Yes, we see you and you're fabulous.
You can't see me. Okay, I don't want you to, but that's okay. I won't sweat the small stuff. All right.
We can see you.
Well, it's a good thing I put on my lipstick. Okay. So let's get started. First of all, let me start with introductions. So my name is Frida Curry. And as I said earlier, I'm a consultant with the Wbdc, and I work specifically in the area of government contracting. I know that we also have someone else from our team on the call. That's Maura Downs. She is the managing director of our government contracting services and our veteran services. Maura, can you wave and say, hi, here I am? I don't know if they can see you, but Maura Downs is on the call. And I don't think anybody else.
Hi, guys, I'm here. I can put my video on. But I don't have, oh, the lighting, not great, Frida. That's
Hi.
me.
All right, so that's Maura. And I think she's the only one, but the rest of the team includes Catherine Kuza, who is our Director of Government Contracting and Veteran Services. And then we have consultants, that includes me, Donna Beasley. Some of you may have worked with some of these people, Latasha Binder and Laverne Hall. So we've got a nice team of qualified, experienced, knowledgeable advisors to help you on this journey of doing business with the government agency. So let me talk a little bit about the Wbdc and who we are. So we have been in business for 30, I forget if it's 35 or 36, but we've been around for a long time. And our mission has been and has always been to provide programs and services that stimulate growth and economic impact for women-owned, diverse, and veteran firms. So simply said, we have programs and services to help you succeed as an entrepreneur. And we've got a variety of programs that do that, with the PTAC being one of them. But we do, our focus is on building capacity, because you can't be successful unless you build capacity, and then you can grow. When we do this, we do technical assistance, we have financial support, we have a loan program, we have programs, the Small Business Development Center, the PTAC. We get grants that really support entrepreneurs in all kinds of ways. And so we're very, very embedded in this whole space of doing, helping businesses to succeed. We also, for those of you that are interested in doing business with corporations, we are a certifying agency for Wbe Certification through the national organization, Women Business Enterprise National Council. And that's when you've got corporate strategies, that's the certification that most corporations accept. And then there's us around procurement on the government side, as well as for procurement when you're looking to do business with corporations. And then we provide veteran business development services. So we have a nice, robust tool. You can go to our website, wbdc.org, to find out more about what we do and the real breadth of what we provide. And that's just a little, the advising. We have the micro loan, we help with contracts, so we're here for you. Got a big team, got a qualified team, and so we know this space. Look at that, I didn't do that. But anyway, for the procurement, so let's talk Procurement Technical Assistance Center, affectionately known as PTAC. And that's, so what we do is, our goal is to help you succeed specifically in the government contracting space. So we do one-on-one advising. We help you to navigate the government buying process, which can be overwhelming, confusing. It's changing all the time. We have a customized bid matching service that we provide called Bid Match. We help you with certifications. And when I say help, we advise, we guide, we review what you're doing, we give you information, but we don't help you do it, but we may help walk you through it or answer questions that you may have to help you to be prepared for when you're submitting your certification applications for the various agencies. We also do guidance with proposal prep and submission. Again, we don't write any proposals, we don't do any proposal writing, but we will guide you, we will help you. If there's a solicitation that you don't understand, we can walk you through it. And if we can't understand it, we can try to help you get support. But the whole thing around proposal and bid prep, it's a big space here. And so we guide and provide on that. In the government space, market research is a biggie. And so there are all kinds of resources and tools and websites. And so we help you to navigate, understand, and then how to utilize that research to make it part of your strategy. Contract opportunities, and that kind of falls underneath the market research. But one of the good things about competing in the government space is that opportunities are publicly posted, because these are taxpayer dollars. You paid for these, and so that information is out there. And so we help again to guide, because it can be overwhelming. And then just with, as I said in the beginning, this is a strategic part of your business. And so when you're deciding to do government contracting, you need to create a plan, but you also need to make sure that it makes sense for you and the type of business that you have. So that's the benefits of working with us. We don't claim to know everything, but we help you. We have access. We can connect you with information. We can do research for you. So we help. We are here to help. I do want to make this point. I was having a conversation with a colleague recently, and they were saying that sometimes she's heard that clients may say, well, I worked with a PTAC, but they didn't actually help me get a contract. And I think it's important to point out, we are a support service. We don't own any contracts. We don't have that golden thing to say, yes, you got a contract. But what we do is we help you to be in a better position to be able to win contracts. We help you with the knowledge gaps that you may have. We help you to understand the things that are confusing. We share opportunities with you as they come to us. We help you to figure out how to go to the sites to be able to get them. We have the bid match service. So we're there to answer questions. We just don't award any contracts, but we're there for all kinds of support. And so support is what we provide. And I do want to say, because I don't want to forget, is that on our website, there's a government contracting tab. And twice a week, we have a bid portal where we post current opportunities that come into our mailboxes that we know about. And so that is posted on our website. So you can go visit it on a regular basis and see what new things might be out there that you missed. And the other thing is that we also have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter, where we share information about maybe upcoming activities, upcoming events that are related to government contracting, or contract opportunities, or bits of knowledge that we come across our desk. And so look out for our monthly newsletter. If you want to be added to the list, you can just send me an email. All right. So I actually didn't know that they were going to come in like that. I didn't do that on purpose, but it's kind of cool. So let's dig in. So government, and I do want to say that we should have time at the end for questions, but I've got a full presentation, so we might run out of time. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can send me an email. And on the last slide, me or anyone on the team, on the last slide, I have our emails. So if you don't get your question asked or answered today, if you don't get a chance to ask and get an answer to your question today, just make an appointment or just send an email. Appointment is the best, because then you can really dig in. All right, so government strategies and planning. What's it all about? And I did notice in the registration that some of you have sat and met and talked to us before. And I think it's good that you come back again and again, because you can't always get it in one setting. All right, so who's your audience? So often when people come and say, I know the government spends money and I want some of that, and I want to do business with them, tell me how. And that's okay. But some of the things we're going to talk about, you want to make sure that what you sell is something that the government agencies buy. And then you also want to be clear on, when you say government agency, who are you talking about? And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but are you talking about the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, Cook County, the federal government? Within the federal government, are there certain agencies or departments within the government agencies? You know, so when you start saying, I want to do business with the government, or I want to do business with Cook County, are we talking about the hospital systems, or the forest preserves, or the Cook County itself? So part of, when I mentioned market research, part of your research is going to help to answer that, because you need to know, you know, how they buy, and if what you sell, which one of those departments, even within an agency, where you should focus your attention. So it's a strategic decision. And again, when you talk about doing business with the government agency, as a small business, if you are indeed a small business, it could be your target audience. When I say target audience, you know, who is it that you're looking to market to? Who is it that you think are going to pay the checks to you? Who is it that you think are going to be the ones that you interact with in order to have deliver these contracts? And so your target audience could be you as a prime contractor, where you're looking to do work directly with a government agency. It could be you as a subcontractor, or it could be you as a subcontractor. And in that case, you're going to work with primes. And so you're going to work with the firms that are the larger firms that have to meet the diverse spending goals that an agency may have, where you may not have the capacity to perform, but those prime contractors have to meet whatever diverse spending goals that government agency has on it. So you may find, well, I said I wanted to do business with Cook County Health and Hospital Systems, but actually I see it's hard to do business directly with them. I got to work with the prime contractors that have that. So they need to get to know you and who you are. Or you may say that when I look at what my services are or my products are, in order for me to really be competitive, I might need to partner with another vendor. And so maybe your target audience when you're doing outreach is another company where you are a team together in order to go in to expand, elevate your capacity. So your audience is not the government agency, because that doesn't mean anything. That's too broad. And so you start digging in and say, which government agency, which big department within that government agency. So when you are talking about doing business, as far as I'm concerned, the strategy and developing that strategy and doing the homework and the digging and the research is the most important part. So, and also if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, because if something's really pressing, since Maura is on, she might stand and say, Frida, we need to pause and answer this, which I will do. Okay, Maura, thank you. This was new, you know.
Will do.
The other thing that people say is, I want to do business with the government agency. Well, the reality is, even when you are working directly with the government, you're working with a human being. So they're buyers, they're the contracting officers. And so you're not selling to City of Chicago, you're selling to Frida Curry, who is a buyer at the City of Chicago. All right. So that's distinction I like to make, because you still are, just like with any other business strategy you have, you're still dealing with human beings. So not this entity, the City of Chicago, the federal government, you're actually doing business and trying to sell to the buyer for that agency, a human being. They have problems that they have to solve, which is usually why they're looking to buy a product or service. They got a problem. They need to, you know, educate their team, or they need to get a construction project done, or they need to, you know, they got a problem and they need to solve that problem, and they're looking for vendors to do that for them. And so you're looking at that buyer, you're looking at somebody who's going to choose a business he or she is confident can deliver. Again, sometimes I'll get new firms that are relatively even new companies, and they want to start out doing business with the government, but they don't have anything that would make a buyer feel confident if I'm a brand new business, for the most part. So they're looking to choose people who have companies who have the capacity to deliver. They have multiple buyers to bid, you know, bidders to choose from. So it's you and probably thousands of others, or hundreds of others, or tens of others, but rarely is it just you. And then the relationship piece, unfortunately, is so important. And I say unfortunately because it's hard to develop relationships with these buyers. And people will say, you got to develop relationships. And you're thinking, I'm trying. I've sent emails, I've met them, I've shook their hands and all that stuff. So relationships tend to be a one-sided thing, but I always say it's still something you want to be persistent in doing, because even though it feels one-sided, you're sending them information, you're shaking hands at events, you're showing up, you're submitting proposals. But it is my experience from talking to buyers and contracting officers that it can be noticed. And so you don't stop, because, you know, that becomes important. And it's not like they can hand you a contract, but you still want them to know that you exist. You still want them to know about your company. You still want them to know that you can deliver, that you can solve their problems that they have. So when you're doing that, you want to focus where you feel like you can win. All right. You know, what does your track record show you that you can do well? What is your track record show that you can do well? What's your capacity? What relationships do you have either with agencies or with primes or with other firms that can help to expand your capacity? What values do you bring to a buyer? And so underlying all of this in terms of answering those questions is research. And so we'll dig a little bit into where you can do that research, but you gotta have knowledge. You gotta know what you do and what's your expertise, how that can add value to a buyer that's looking to do business with a government agency. All right. So are there opportunities in your field? So one of the good things about research, there are lots of links and I they're in the back in terms of my resource at the end of the presentation, but you can do all kinds of research. All of the agencies, again, these are public dollars. All of the agencies have sites where you can get information about them. You know, what's important to this agency in terms of, you know, for the Department of Defense, for example, keeping our fighters safe is one of the big issues that's important to them. You know, for education is making sure that we have educated population, but you want to hang out on their sites, their websites to see what's important to them. You want to look to see what kinds of opportunities they have that are available. You want to look and learn how do they buy what they sell? And it's different. And so to me, that's why it becomes also important. If you don't just say, I can do business with everybody, the city, the county, the state, the feds, other states, they can use what I have. And that may be true, but it'd be really challenging for you to be competitive if you're trying to do everything all at one time, as opposed to digging in and focusing on, say, 2 agencies or 2 departments that you target and really dig in and understand and learn them, so that when you do your marketing and your outreach and you're trying to make connections, it's clear to them that you understand what's important to them. So that becomes really important. We like to know that somebody has taken the time to figure out what's important before I start telling you that I do phenomenal widgets and you could care less about widgets because you really care about something else over here. So you want to know, you want to have that language as part of your outreach, your networking. And then the research can show you if they buy what you sell, how they buy what you sell. Do they buy big, which means that you got to really develop those relationships with prime contractors. Do they have small purchase programs like the federal government? Anything under $25,000, they don't have to do competitive bids for it. It can just be awarded to a firm for anything under 25. The city of Chicago has a target program, a small business target program. So you want to, I think the tollway has something for small business. And so as you do your deep dive on the agencies that you've decided or where you want to focus your attention, you want to look for things like that too. When I say, how do they buy, you know, what programs are out there? Do they do things that support small businesses in particular? How do I become a part of that? Almost all of the agencies have programs where they are looking to support small businesses being able to do business with them. Sometimes it takes a little digging to find them, to understand them. That's where we can help. Most of them, you can reach out to the people. Again, they're not, you know, they may be overwhelmed, so they may not respond right away, but there's nothing that says that you can't reach out to procurement people with government agencies. And I say that because sometimes people think, well, can I reach out to them? Am I allowed? And it's like, yes, you're allowed. So the other thing, when you want to look for are opportunities in your field. And so in terms of down the road, especially, I mean, so it's really good to know in the next 12 or 18 months, does this agency indicate that they have any plans to buy the kind of product or service that I sell? So they're buying plans, like the city has one, the state, and we're going to look at the city of Chicago's buying plan the last few minutes, in case you haven't seen it, just to show you what one can look like. Of course, they're all different because they're different agencies. And also, even in our newsletter, you know, we look out for any kind of forecasting opportunities to try to put in there so that you can also prepare. Maybe that gives you time to develop relationships or to introduce yourself to the prime so that they know who you are, or to maybe staff up, or maybe to enhance your knowledge. But again, because it's public, when you have decided that the government agencies are part of your strategic growth strategy, then you also want to learn about what's coming down the pipe so that I can be ready, so that I can reach out, so that I can begin to develop those relationships. And so the fact that they have buying plans or forecasting plans is really good. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let me see, I have to do a time check. So it's 10:30 almost. And so I want to make sure I've got time for us to look at the buying plan and get through everything. So some of the things I may just touch on. If you need to go deeper, like I said, you can always make an appointment with someone on our team and we can take you deeper. But I wanted to give an overview today. You know, when I was putting together the presentation, I was thinking, well, do I want to focus on this? No, that. No, I want to make sure we talk about this. And I decided I can't do them all, but we can dig in deep individually. And so as many of you may know, the agencies, and I have it, I think on the next slide. So agencies have average goals in terms of how they, you know, what percentage of their spending do they want to be spent on small businesses or women-owned businesses or veteran-owned or minority-owned businesses. So when an agency has set a goal on a contract opportunity, and it's a bigger one where primes are likely to be the ones to win, the prime contractors are also required to meet the diverse spending goal. So for example, if the city has a project for construction to build a new library downtown, you know, making this up. And they said on this project, which is gonna be estimated a $10 million project, we wanna make sure that at least 25% of that money is spent with minority-owned firms. We wanna make sure that at least 5% of that $10 million is spent with women-owned firms. We want to make sure that at least 3% of that money is spent with veteran firms. So the prime, and so if the agency has that as part of their procurement requirements, that prime contractor is the one that has to meet that, right? So that's why it becomes really critical if you're in an industry where the projects like IT or construction tend to be big projects. You want to make sure that you do the deep dive on the firms that typically win or currently hold those projects or will compete for those projects, because those primes have to meet those goals. Many of you probably already knew that, but just in case you didn't, actually. And so here we look at, on the federal side, typical diverse spending goals. Well, the federal side is a set 5%, service disabled veteran-owned small businesses 3%, small businesses is 23%, and then hub zone is 3%. So on the federal side, those are the diverse spending goals that they have. And when they define small, the federal government, the Small Business Administration, they have a whole chart on their website where they define small businesses. And it's typically either for manufacturers, it's based on how many employees, but for most of them, it's based on revenue. And it's different for different industries. In the state, they kind of range in this 20 to 25%, and the goals may differ depending upon the nature of the project. So the 20 to, oh, I didn't say the 20, I'm sorry, the 20 to 25% for minority, and the 5 to 7% typically for women, and then 3% typically for veterans. But that may shift. And sometimes there may not be any goals, like if it's, I don't know, buying oil or something, which you probably find very few diverse firms in there, they may not have any goals on it. But for the most part, on average, this is what they can look like. All right. So of course, this leads right into, my glasses are dirty. I don't know if y'all can see me looking around, but I'm looking for my eyeglass. Clean, just give me a minute. Oh, never mind, forget it. I can see. Okay. Oh. All right, and so the ABCs of certification. So I've been talking about the goals. Well, how do they meet those goals? Of course, it's through working with certified firms. All right. And there are lots of certifications. So again, clients will come in and say, I am certified as a WBE. And I will say, okay, you're certified with who? And they'll just say, the city. But they will think that that certification will be good for all agencies, and it's not. And so that makes it like, you know, annoying. So the ABCs of certification. So we know that most government agencies have diverse spending goals, as I just said, on almost all their projects, unless it just doesn't make sense to have them on the projects. Same thing with corporations. So for those of you that are also competing for major corporate contracts, they also have diverse spending goals. And then the people that are applying, the person applying for the certification, they have to verify that they are the type of firm that they claim to be. So for example, if I say that I'm WBE, I'm a women-owned firm, I own the firm and I control the firm and the operations of the firm, then I have to verify that I am indeed the owner and the controller of that company. And then, did that make sense? I think that made sense. All right. So, and then I think I have another slide, but I'll just say here, for any of you that are certified, you know, you have to show that you own and control at least 51% of the company. And there are all these documents that you can, that they will require for you to prove that. And it could be your organization, your company statements, it could be identification, it could be they ask a lot of questions. So when you're getting certified, you have to be willing to answer the questions that are asked. And it's really to protect the programs, because it becomes really important that I prove that not only do I have 51% ownership, but I understand the operations of the company. I control the company. I'm the buck. The buck stops with me. Typically, you have to have the highest title. Sometimes there are exceptions to that. But you know, I can't come in and I'm the secretary and some man is the president and another man is the vice president, and I'm saying I can control it, because I don't as a WBE. So there are lots of other questions and digging that are part of the process that many people find annoying. But if you just think about it, that it's important that they do that deep dive to make sure that they protect the integrity of the programs, because there was a time that a lot of firms that said, for example, that they were WBE were really actually owned by their husbands, and they were just doing that to get the benefits. And so they send you through your paces. And there are different types of certifications. So the federal government, they have some formal certifications through the Small Business Administration. You may have heard of 8A, you may have heard of HubZone. Again, we could do a presentation just with those, each one of those by themselves. So that's where you can do the deep dive on their sites, on their websites, as well as with your advisor. We have the Department of Veteran Affairs. They have the CVE, and they call it verification, but that's the veteran certification with the VA. They have the federal government also has certifications with women-owned small business and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. And then self-certifying through SAM, small business, small disadvantage, women business enterprise. So the federal government has those, and the federal government doesn't typically, I can say never, I'm always hesitating to say never, but they don't really use, say like your city WBE or your state WBE or your Cook County WBE, because those aren't part of the federal certifications that they care about and that they use in order to meet the goals that they've set up. Cook County and the city, we've got minority, you know, we got WBE, MBE, we've got VBE with the city of Chicago that I didn't put on here. We've got ACDBE, which is the Airport Concession Disadvantage for those of you that are looking to do business with the airports. And then they have BEPD, the business enterprises owned by people with disabilities. County, minority, women, veteran. So when you're deciding to get certified, again, think about which agency or agencies will be your target. And then those are the ones that you want to make sure you have. It's okay to have others, but you want to minimally make sure you have those. Then with the state of Illinois, we have their Business Enterprise Program, MVBE, and then they have their Veteran Business Program. And what I don't have on here, they also have, because it's not a certification, but they have the Small Business Set-Aside Program, where opportunities that are $50,000 or less are set aside for small businesses. And that's a separate application that you can do through their website. And this is just, I won't go through this. This is just who certifies what. You know, And that you're going to get a copy of this and you can just look at that. I don't, that's just, you know, doing a deep dive with certification, but I think you can just see it sort of supplements what I just showed you. Although I didn't mention DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, that's really more transportation, highway related, like the tollway, IDOT. They really look at the DBE certification in order to meet the goals that they've established for their projects. And the city and the county charge. Those are the only two government agencies that charge for certification. And then if you do the private for your corporate strategies, those agencies charge. So the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, they charge for MBE certification, and the Women's Business Development Center, we charge for WBE certification. Okay. Nothing. All right. Oh, all right. I'm not going to, I think I'm going to just skirt over the application process because I really do want us to take a look at the buying plan. But I already said this, real and substantial. So you got to own, you got to control 51% or more. And it could be, for example, MBE or WBE, it doesn't have to be one person. So say you got partners in your business. So it could be more than one woman, but together our ownership is more than 51%. Same with minority, together, if it's 2 or 3, together their ownership is more than 51%. So for example, if we have an MBE firm and they've got 2 minority partners and 1 non-minority partner, as long as those 2 partners together are at least 51%, then they can get certified. Okay. Maura, if I say anything wrong, you correct me. Maura is our, in addition to being, you know, steeped in government contracting, she is also a certification expert.
Frida, you've nailed it.
All right, thank you. So I'm not going to go through this, but this will be good when you get your when you get the presentation to take a look at. And this is the application process, the steps you have to go through. And on our website, under our certification tab, we also have an infographic that talks about the steps for WBank, for WB, for the certification that we handle to do business with corporations, but a lot of those steps are very similar. But this walks you through the steps that you have to do, proven eligibility. With COVID, there's not very many site visits that occur, but it could. And then if you are denied, you actually can protest that you were denied. You can show them where it was a mistake. It may or may not work out, but you can do that. You can say, I disagree with what you said because I do own it. And, you know, maybe if some documents you provided weren't correct. I don't think anything's gonna come up. So, oh man, that takes a long time. That takes a long time. And I kind of apologize. I didn't do that on purpose. I don't usually have them flowing in. But there's some tools real quick that I want to talk about, and tools and elements, because they're not all just tools. So one of them is industry codes. And so a lot of times when you're new to this space, you're not necessarily familiar with the fact that a lot of the industries are just categorized using these codes. And so that just becomes really important for all of the government agency. And even when you're doing your private certification, like with CMSDC and WBDC, you need to know your industry codes, because when you are getting certified or when you are responding to RFPs, more often than not, they are looking to buy within a certain industry. And so they will specify that in the solicitation, and it could be NAICS, NAICS codes. And so those are used by the federal, city, and the county, as well as private certification, but they use NAICS codes. And so, and there's a, I don't think I put it in here, but there's a NAICS.com website where you can go and you can put in keywords, and this is what I do. You can have more than one NAICS code. You can have multiples. Most of them require that you have at least a primary NAICS code, and then you can have a lot of them because, you know, we have diverse businesses, or we have, you know, we may not fit into one little box. The other one is the Nigp codes. And so that's what the state of Illinois uses, and other states may, but that's what the state of Illinois uses. They don't use Nigp codes for their certification when you're completing that application. And they have a tool that you can use if you know your NAICS codes, but you don't know your Nigp, where you can look it up and find out what your Nigp codes are. And I think they tend to be a little narrower than NAICS, because NAICS can be pretty broad. I think Nigp get down a little bit. And so you may end up with a lot of Nigp codes, again, depending upon the nature of your business. And then on the federal side, they also have product service codes. And that's really how they describe the product or service. Like if you sell phones and classes or food or something, that helps when you start looking for contracts, when you start doing your research to find contracts. The PSC code can help to narrow it down, again, so that it's not as broad as the NAICS code is, and you can kind of really hone in and find out which PSC codes are relevant for what you sell. All right. The other element that's important when you're talking about government contracting is solicitations or bid opportunities or contracts. And I just want to touch this. You have the RFP, which most people have heard of, request for proposal. And that's where you really kind of dig in, and there's a lot of work involved in that. And we do a workshop. We have information on, really responding to RFPs. The biggest thing that I can tell you that's across the board is to read it again thoroughly, read it again thoroughly, and read it again thoroughly, especially if it's a big one. We had one a year or so ago that was with an agency, and it was really, there are lots of elements to it. There are lots of things you need to understand. And for those, if you submit it and you don't do everything that they tell you to do in terms of the instructions, they won't even read it. They'll just send it back and say that it was non-responsive. We can help you understand, work through. We can even take a little review of it, but we always let people know we are reviewing it to see how you responded to what was being requested. We're not necessarily reviewing it and saying, yep, that's a great proposal, because we're not the reviewers. We don't know what they're looking for, but we really look at the content. This is what they asked for. I think you could probably strengthen this a little bit more. And so, but we can help you. We can help in any kind of way you want, but we don't write it for you. I always like to put that out, because a lot of times people are looking for someone to write it for them. We don't do that. And I always encourage you to, even if you ultimately find someone to write it for you to take a crack at it first, because you're the one who knows best how to communicate what you do well. And then there's like invitations for bid. That's really based on pricing. On the federal side, they have something called sources sought. And that's where the contracting officer or the buyer is kind of doing research to see if there are small firms that have the capacity to be able to perform on something that they're thinking about putting out there. And they do that because they want to, they want to make sure that if they do put goals on it, if they do say, we want to have a WSB goal or a small business goal, that there are enough firms out there that can do it. And then the last one, and agencies may have different names for this, but it's the concept, IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, where you may get a contract and it could be valued up to $1 million, but it's really task oriented. And so you may quote unquote win it, but you only get to work on it when there are tasks against that broad multiple award contract that you can then perform on. Not sure if that made sense. Hope it did. But the city, I won it. So basically what you've done is you won the ability to be able to perform on some of the projects that may come up under this big umbrella contract. Hope that makes sense. Another tool you hear people talk about, capability statements. And it is like the company's resume or the company's boiled down brochure. Okay, we're down to 10 minutes. Okay, it's like the company's resume or boiled down brochure. A lot of agencies like to see one page. Some people would do a second page, but one page where you're really providing a snapshot. It is okay to have more than one CAPE statement, because the one that you create for one project, a city, may be different from the one that you're doing for the state, because you know that they have a different area of focus, which may be different from, you know, a different project. So this is something I tell people, you don't need to make this, print this and make it all shiny and stuff that is just locked into this. You want to, it's flexible, but it's targeted to a specific customer. It can even be targeted to a specific type of project. It only includes the information that's important to that targeted entity. It differentiates you from your competition, and it's responsive to change, meaning you can change it. We are doing, so the WBDC, I mean, our PTAC, we have something called GovCon Huddle. And so this month, starting in February, so every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we dive deep into one of the other areas. And so capability statements is what we're going to be doing in the month of February. And what that means, you can come with your questions. So it's not so much a presentation. We do talk about it, we answer your questions, but it's really, you bring your hurdles to the huddle, working on your statement, what it should look like. Is this one a good one? Just asking questions. You can do that, as well as, of course, you can work with your advisor. And then we can also provide that kind of guidance and insight and recommendations. And you want to make sure that you talk about your core competencies, past performance, agencies, well, everybody, they like to see what have you done in the past. It can be challenging if you're brand new in your business. So you have to think about past experience that you may have. If you had a job where you were in the area now that you're now in with your company, but the past performance is something that becomes important. And you want to make sure you have your contact information, have your branding on it. And I like to tell people to call it a capability statement. You know, we get creative when we want to call it something else, but you know, these government buyers, the prime contract buyers, everybody's kind of busy. They don't have time to figure out what does she mean by that. Call it a capability statement and kind of move on. But we're going to go deep with that. If you want to do the huddle, you just make an appointment. There's probably a link someplace. The other thing that is a tool that you need to have is your elevator pitch, or your 45-second introduction. So you may have an opportunity, say at a procurement event, where you know you have buyers from other agencies. You know, they used to be in person, and so it's different, but now many of them are virtual. But you may have a phone meeting, or you know, with a potential buyer where you're introducing yourself, or prime contractor. And so you want to be able to communicate your value, like what value do you bring to these entities, your proof of experience. So even if you're new, then you have to look at some sort of relevant experience and bring that to the conversation, how you differentiate yourself from other companies. And one of the things that I discourage, that a lot of businesses say, they'll say that I'm a new business, I'm a small business, I'm a woman-owned business. My recommendation is in those 45 seconds or that elevator pitch, you want to start with your strength. And so the fact that you're a woman-owned business, that should not be your strength. Your strength should be that I provide value to firms that are looking to do X. I've got 20 years of experience there, and what differentiates me from my other companies is this. Then you can get into the new and all that, but that new and small do not instill confidence. I don't think you need to say that, in my opinion. The women and the veteran might, if you know, for example, from your research that they are not able to, they're having a hard time meeting their veteran goals, but always start with your strengths. And if your strength is the fact that you're a woman-owned business, or a veteran-owned business, or a small business, you might need to do some more work on building your business and your capacity, okay? Additional tips, I won't walk through all of these, but you do want to register as a vendor. You want to do your research. And for those of you that are new and haven't done the research yet, and say, for example, you're in Evanston, or you are in DuPage County, and you want to see, you know, you want to see what kinds of opportunities they have. One of my recommendations is a search term, doing business with, is a good way to get to that section for those sites, because you can hang around and rummage around. And so sometimes that'll get you to the section. So if it's a different municipality and you want to just say, how do I do business with this city? Doing business with is a good keywords. You want to attend procurement events. You want to market your company. You want to market. You need to get out there. You can't sit back and say, you know, it's hard. I don't want to be bothered with doing all that work. you know, and one of the things that I always talk about is, so what, who cares, what's in it for me? That used to be one of my mantras when I worked, back in the day, I was a small business development center director. And for that, it's kind of like, you want to understand what's important to that agency. So when you're talking to them, you're answering those questions for them. So what? In your 45 seconds, who cares? And they're asking, not you. The person that you're talking to is asking, what's in it for me? So if you've done your due diligence, you know what the pain points are, you know what's important to them, you know what their mission is. So then when you're talking about, hey, pay attention to me, you're doing it from the perspective of answering that question, showing them that you can be valuable, that you have value to add to them. You want to get known in the industry, so you need to show up, you need to introduce yourself, you need to do follow-up emails, even if they feel like they're one-sided. You need to participate, you need to submit proposals. You know, that's how they can get to know. You may not win that one, you may not win the second one, but it's get noticed that you're responsive. For sources sought, and the local agencies, you know, somebody can pop in. I'm not sure if they do that as much, but for sources sought that I mentioned, when the agencies, when the buyer is trying to decide, should I even set goals on this? You want to respond to sources sought if it's something that you can do, because on the federal side, say we got a buyer that's trying to decide, they've got this contract opportunity that they forecasted, they want to make sure, they want to see if they should set goals on it, but they want to make sure first that there's small businesses out there. They're looking for people to respond to sources sought. And so say if you see something and you know your competitor also can provide that, you may encourage your competitor to I'm sorry, something popped up on my screen, to your competitor to also respond, so that oh, I'm sorry, I've run out of time. We only got 5 minutes. Okay. What do I want to so I just wanted to do a quick, so what I've done, the rest of the slides, what I have is I wanted to do a quick demonstration of the buying plan for the city of Chicago. I do not think I'm going to be able to do that because you know, I can't rush through it. But what I can tell you, in the resources, I provided links to the buying plans for the city of Chicago, for the state of Illinois, and for Cook County. What I recommend that you do is that you go take a look at those buying plans. So for the city of Chicago in particular, they just put out their recent one. They just put out their new one for the first quarter of 2022, and it takes it through 12 months or 18 months. In there, what you can find out is information about in departments. They may say aviation, they may say professional services, they may say construction, and you can get a sense of what types of projects they are planning to have 12 to 18 months out. And so that benefits you because you know, again, who you should connect with, who you should meet to. And the City of Chicago buying plan, it also provides that information for some of the Cook County stuff, for some of the sister agencies like Chicago Public Schools, CTA, Chicago Park District. So that's a really good one. I apologize that we ran out of time before I could show it, but you can go take a look at it yourself. The link is here in the presentation, but you want to look at the buying plan for any of the agencies that you're interested in. Okay, and even if, say, for example, you're interested in federal, because there was not one site for federal, but you know that you want to do business with, I don't know, the Department of State, I'm just making it up. You can go to their website and you can look for forecasting. They tend to call them forecasting plan for that agency, so that, again, you can get a sense of what's coming up. As part of your strategy, I strongly recommend that you pay attention to, that you look at, as part of your research, that you look at the upcoming buying plans or the upcoming forecasting, because that really helps you to shape where you need to focus your attention as you're moving forward. You want to develop an action plan. Again, think about any of your regular non-government work. You typically have an action plan or business plan or strategic plan. You want to do the same thing specifically for the federal government, because it's different in terms of how you go about getting information from other types of other strategies that you may have as part of your business. but so many of the elements are still the same. It's getting to know your target and becoming an expert in your target audiences, understanding their pain points and what's important to them, doing research to see if they buy what you sell and how they buy what you sell. Information's out there. All of the agencies have sites, and I gave you links to those sites. You want to think about your value proposition in terms of how you respond to their needs. You want to follow up. So you want to network, you want to meet people, you want to follow up, you want to stay in their face in a professional and business way. You want to do your capability statement and change it and modify it as things in your company change. So you want to have the marketing tools that you need. You want to know your industry codes. And when you think about doing the research on your agencies, or what codes, what industries, what categories do they typically buy from? You want to take advantage of the resources like the state of Illinois. You want to sign up for their small business set aside program if doing business with the state is part of your strategy. And so when you go in to meet with an advisor, you want to be able to say, and you may not do it the first time because that's why we're there to help you. But you want to be able to say, this is why I'm going for this agency. This is what I've learned. This is what I've decided why this one is one that I think will be a good, this one of these ones will be a good one for me to spend my time with. We have a team, we have a nice robust team for you at the Wbdc. It's consisting of Maura and Catherine on the staff, as well as qualified, experienced, deep knowledge consultants. And so we are here to serve you. In the thing, I put in the link that you can use to schedule an appointment. And then once you use that link, you can go in and see, you can just select an advisor. So I'm sorry, I apologize, there's no time for questions, but I did give you a bunch of resources. And I gave you, city and state, I gave you certification links, and I also gave you looking for contract opportunities links. So I apologize, we didn't get to ask any questions. I get so involved in it and it's so much. And but you can get your questions answered by making an appointment to talk to any one of us.
That was a great presentation. Can you send it to us so that we can go to those links?
Absolutely, I will do that. I will do that today. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
kind of difficult to take notes with all these sites while you're going so fast in the slides. We would appreciate forwarding the slides so we can get the information to how to contact you and go through these sites. Thank you. It's a great presentation.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I would send this because it is hard to take notes, and it is hard to take notes because it's so much, but I'll send a link.
Yeah, but it's a great presentation. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. But make an appointment with us. We're here for you.
Do you charge for your service, or how your service work?
Okay, so we do not charge for our services, but what we do not, period. But what we do ask, so we are, we are able to support our organization with grant funding, and so we get funding from federal government, state, from a variety of sources. But one of the things that is required for the PTAC is that we do surveys. We call them economic impact surveys, where we just do it twice a year, probably no more than twice a year, maybe sometimes 3 times a year. But we do surveys where we're asking you to let us know if you've won any contracts, if you've added any jobs, created any new jobs, or able to retain your jobs. It's a fairly simple survey, but we need for you, in order for us to perform our work to our funder satisfaction, the only thing we ask is that you please respond to those. And we know you get lots of surveys, but that's important to our funding. But in terms of money coming out of your pocket, absolutely not.
That's excellent. So I guess I'm gonna have to schedule an advisor, because I'm more interested in grants and how to use my skills in doing business with the federal government. and I am kind of lost with all these codes and all these websites. And
Okay.
your presentation was just right on today. I mean, it explained a lot of things, but I have been certified though. And one of the things that's confusing me is how to relate the industrial code or the tool that they gave me I'm certified in was to apply for businesses and get what the government is looking for to solve a problem. So this is one of the I find it hard for me to really look at the right place to be able to earn the trust of the agency or get some business. Right now, I'm the only one who's operating the company as a woman, as a WBE.
Okay, so yeah, just make an appointment, and when I send the presentation out today, you will see the link.
Excellent. Thank you so
And
much.
actually,
You have
you
my
can
email.
even go on the website now, just in case I get backed up and it doesn't come out today. On our website, wbdc.org, there's a government
WBB.
contracting, Women's Business Development Center, W, Water, Boy, David, Cat, wbdc.org, O-R-G. When you go to our website, we have a government contracting tab, and then you can also, the link should be there to also make the appointment. But I'm gonna send it to you. All
Okay,
right.
W as in white, B as in boy, B as in boy, D as in David, C as in cat.org.
Yeah,
It is two
yeah,
Bs.
Waterboy David Cat, wbdc.org. And it's, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you
Cool.
so much.
You're
Frida.
welcome. All righty, everyone. It has been a blast spending this time with you. Thank you, Juanita. No, Wanika.
That's right.
See, I got it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous day. Fabu. And we look forward to seeing you in your one-on-one sessions with us or at the huddle. And the GovCon huddle, I might not have that information for you today, how to sign up, but if not, I'll follow up with you.
Great. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye-bye.
Frida. This was spectacular.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where did we get the presentation?
I'm sending it to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, if you registered through the if you registered because you're here, and I'm gonna send it to everybody who registered.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks, you, Javondelin. All right. Okay, here we go. There's my end button.